I feel like I have to confront the extremely stupid and dishonest talking point that's going around on social media these days that the Liberal Party, the Conservatives, the NDP, and sometimes they even throw the Greens in there, that all of them are one big UniParty. They're all globalists, they're all pseudo-socialists or whatever behind the scenes, and you just don't know. But I see the subtle signs that shows that they're really all in on it together. This is obviously coming from a lot of PPC people on X and Facebook whenever they see just innocuous things going on in Parliament and they believe that somehow Pierre Poilievre and Justin Trudeau are in league with each other, despite the fact that they constantly rip on each other, despite the fact that their policy plans are completely opposite these days. Justin Trudeau wants way more spending to deal with affordability issues, which obviously would only make affordability issues worse, and Pierre Poilievre wants smaller government, cuts in spending on a lot of things, more military spending, get the government off gun owners' backs and everything like that. Obviously, the Liberals and Conservatives are extremely different. But this uniparty talking point is very, very interesting, I think, to people who don't know how politics works. So they like to believe that they can detect subtle signs that somehow all the parties are really the same. Because I feel like people are very attracted in the PPC to theories that everything's actually super, super simplistic. If you just sort of notice these little things that we notice, everything's actually extremely simple in the sense that, oh, it's us versus everyone else. And the PPC, I think, is trying to build this narrative because, frankly, Pierre Poilievre is eating their lunch and they have nowhere to go in terms of the polling right now. Nobody really cares about their platform. Maxime Bernier and PPC HQ did not put in the effort to actually make sure that the party worked. Again, I voted for the PPC in 2021 because I didn't like Aaron O'Toole at all. That is a good candidate to call maybe a uniparty type politician. He's still a conservative politician. It's not like the Liberals and Conservatives weren't trying to beat each other in 2021, but you could say that Aaron O'Toole was so liberal that it didn't matter. It didn't, voting liberal conservative felt like a worthless choice. So that's why I sat that one out. But the uniparty talking point is applied to literally every single conservative leader. And now we see it with Pierre Poilievre. And why is it being applied to Pierre Poilievre? Well, like I mentioned, because Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre took part in an almost 700-year tradition of the Prime Minister and the opposition leader dragging the new Speaker of the House up to the Speaker's seat. This tradition exists because basically the Speaker of the House back in England used to have to go and give the king bad news. So obviously it was considered a bad job to have because it's quite stressful. So they kind of made a joke of the idea that the House Speaker has to be dragged up to actually sit and preside over Parliament. Anyways, but I'll play the video because this is, I guess, a damning evidence that Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre are actually in on it together, and it's a one big, Klaus Schwab unity party.
Let us welcome the new Speaker of the House of Commons.
Yeah, that's all that you have to really see. But guys, I understand that you don't like Justin Trudeau. I don't like Justin Trudeau as much as the next guy. I don't like Greg Fergus for my for example too. I don't like him very much. He has a bad record. He is very left wing on social issues. He is corrupt, as it was seen that he was investigated for ethical violations. Yeah, Greg Fergus isn't great. I like Pierre Poilievre. But I don't get mad at Pierre Poilievre because he's taking part in an almost 700-year tradition. It's okay for there to be slightly unifying little traditions in Parliament between MPs. I don't need people to just be hucking tomatoes at each other as soon as they come into Parliament. And guess what? Maxime Bernier would do the same thing if he was Prime Minister. You would want the Liberals to say, I guarantee all the PPC people on Twitter, if Maxime Bernier had a majority government right now, and they were picking a speaker, and Justin Trudeau is the opposition leader, the PPC supporters, and I when I say supporter, I'm not saying if you ever vote PPC or you're still voting PPC, this is you. I'm talking about the influencers, the people who never shut up about how the PPC is going to totally kill at this next election, while they never actually do any door knocking or real election work, and they just sit around on X and Facebook just typing messages to nobody. That's the people I'm talking about. They would be ticked at Justin Trudeau if Justin Trudeau is the opposition leader and he wouldn't take part in this tradition along with Maxime Bernier. And they would be right to be ticked because it would be Justin Trudeau thumbing his nose in the face of a tradition that's supposed to be unifying. But you get people from the PPC like this, someone who's an actual organizer for the Nova Scotia or Maritimes area, Julie Scott, says, here comes the globalist UniParty. All three salaries combined are $950,000, $900, $950,000, $900. One, that's not that much money. You literally have the opposition leader, the prime minister of the country, and the guy who's the speaker of the house, and it's less than $1 million. That's actually not too bad. I'm not sure why you think this is a big win, but it's a globalist uniparty because they took part in a tradition. Who cares? The PPC will do so much better if it actually goes after the Liberals and explains how they will operate differently than the current government. The PPC has never gone anywhere because it feels like a grievance party. This is where, despite whether it's true or not, the talking point is very effective that Maxime Bernier only started the PPC to get back at Andrew Scheer. Because nothing Maxime Bernier has done has proven that he's actually trying to form a party that's going to get into Parliament. In 2019, sorry that this is turning into a rant about the PPC, but I just kind of want to at this point. In 2019, Maxime Bernier could have retained his seat in Beauce. The polling was actually pretty close, and he lost by 7-8 points, which is a pretty large margin, but that's not a large margin considering he wasn't even in the riding barely during the entire election. He was out in BC, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta for most of the election. And you could say, and I have PPC reply guys like Mark Friesen say, well, it's because there's a lot of votes and support out for the PPC in Alberta and Saskatchewan, blah, blah. You're not going to win any seats. It doesn't matter if you rack up a lot of votes. You're not going to win any seats. Your best effort is your best chance at being a real party is winning Beauce this election, just pouring all your resources into Beauce, proving the formula works in one riding, and then moving on to other ridings. Do you know how the Green Party won Saanich in the Gulf Islands for Elizabeth May? They literally flew in every single Green Party staffer and activist into the riding, onto Vancouver Island. And guess who else they flew in? They flew in Green Party USA and even Democrats activists to come to that riding to campaign for Elizabeth May. They smashed that riding. They smashed that riding for a year and a half in order to get Elizabeth May in. I do not like Elizabeth May. She's a crazy 9/11 conspiracy theorist and believes in healing crystals and whatnot. Nutcase. Also, she's very good at politics. People like the PPC, if they want to get into Parliament, they have to become good at politics. And I don't think Maxime Bernier is focused on being good at politics. They don't even have EDAs in every single riding. It's not, if you can't operate an EDA, you're not going to be able to win a seat. And if you can't, and it's just that simple. You need to be able to show that you can organize on the ground. Twitter or X, I guess, is not everything. And putting out talking points like, oh, the Conservatives and Liberals are in a uniparty. You guys are not doing what you think you're doing. I know that you think by saying that you're going to chill conservative voters to their core and they're going to be like, you're right. They're all part of a big uniparty. The only way we can save ourselves is by electing Maxime Bernier and him storing secret documents as biker girlfriend's residence or whatever. I don't know what you that's you're not going to freak people out by saying that everything is corrupt and terrible and evil in Canada. So you have to vote PPC. It's not compelling. It's a doom and gloom, dumb talking point. And by going after the Conservatives constantly, you're only feeding into the idea that the PPC is a grievance party. The uniparty talking point is stupid. You can find areas places you can criticize any Conservative leader on, especially people like Erin O'Toole, who are effectively just a liberal. Obviously, you can. But the thing is that your main target should always be the government, or it seems petty. Have you ever, the only time that a opposition leader is ever the main focus of everyone is when you're on a debate stage and they're clearly winning, so everyone's going after them. But if it's not a debate in a general election, you criticize the government. If you're not criticizing the government, it looks like you're running for fifth place every single election, and you're just looking to show that you're purer than the Conservative Party. And if purity testing, I'm very conservative. I'm more conservative than most people in the PPC and the CPC. At the same time, purity testing nonsense will not win elections. What you're going to tell, because the thing is that then the Christian Heritage Party can step slightly to the right of the PPC and say, hey, guess what? We're actually more conservative than the PPC and the CPC, so everyone should come and vote for us. Then the Libertarians can say, well, on a pure political spectrum basis, we're actually the furthest to the right, so everyone should be voting for us who's super conservative. It's uncompelling. I'm actually going to use my master's in public policy education for a second here. If anyone's ever heard of Herald Hotelling, there's this idea that if you're trying to attract either buyers to your business or voters, that you want to place yourself on a portion of a spectrum or in a geographical area that attracts the most amount of people. And that's actually not dead center, because dead center, you're always going to be cut off by people who are a little bit more to your left and a little bit more to your right. So you want to be somewhat to the right. You want to, like, the conservative being more right wing actually makes them a far more appealing party because they monopolize everyone on that right wing. If you go all the way to the right and you're like trying to be as pure as humanly possible, yeah, you'll win some purity testing type people who only want a party that's going to be as pure as humanly possible, but you're going to lose everyone who's slightly to the center and in the center. You want to be kind of like halfway all the way to the right, the furthest right, but not right in the center and not like all the way to the left. You always, if you're trying to get the most amount of voters, you want to be in this place where you're not just trying to be this soupy nothingness like Aaron O'Toole right in the center. You want to be significantly to the right so that those people trust you, while you're also not being boxed out by being in the center by the people who are more to your left. I'm not saying that everyone should just we should scientifically run for office and that we should design platforms in a way to like attract people in this like surgical way. I think you just should run as a genuine conservative, but that's why genuine conservatives win, because this kind of scientific way of thinking about elections benefits people who are actual conservatives, rather than this kind of centrist, moderate, the candidate for everyone type guy. And it also doesn't help to be the candidate for nobody by being only the candidate for people who are 120% on your side, like the PPC is kind of trying to operate their party these days. Anyways, sorry for that rant. My donation link for my legal fund is in the description of this video below. I'm going to be going to Toronto next week to go take part in a protest that Daniel Boardman is the co-owner of TNT is hosting at Chrystia Freeland's office to protest the new stupid podcasting bill. So if you donate to the legal fund, it'll also help subsidize my ability to get to Toronto. Also, there's the TNT email list linked in the description of this video. So if you want to get our emails and videos sent directly to your inbox, just sign up right there. We do not email people daily. We just do it every few days, maybe every other day. It kind of depends on what's kind of going on in a week. But other than that, I hope everyone has a fantastic day.